Route 1 only. You guys seem to like these videos, and man do I like making them. Now, most of the older games don't have variety when it comes to Route 1 Pokemon, but if there's any game that has variety, it's Pokemon Ultrasun and Moon. I mean, the amount of Pokemon you can catch on Route 1 is incredible. There's around 15 encounters to choose from, and it would be more, but I don't really want to have an extra like 7 encounters since the school and the outskirts technically count as Route 1. Also, there's some really good Pokemon in those sections, so pair that with the amount of Pokemon we get access to, and the run will be way too easy. The whole point of a Route 1 challenge is to have limited Pokemon, and we won't get that if we get access to 7 more encounters. 7 more encounters, which by the way are very good encounters. The cool thing though is we will be able to pick our starter, as Kukui will gift them to us on Route 1. Anyways, this is a hardcore Nuzlocke, and I guess I'll allow Z moves just because these games take so long to complete, and that might speed up the process. Now for our run in Sword and Shield, I caught 1 Pokemon every time I defeated a gym, but in this case I'm going to catch a full team of 6 before the first trial, and then after that we'll catch 1 after every single trial, since this game could be tough at times, especially in the early game. By the end, any counters that haven't been caught, I'll just go ahead and catch them. If you guys do enjoy the video, go ahead and like it, because why wouldn't you do that? And please, please subscribe, as we're almost at 20,000 subs. You guys are the best, and let's get this started. Oh, and what's your favorite Pokemon so far from Scarlet and Violet? You know, I've never been in Mother's room. Wow, looks like she has the same outfit in different colors. I better win the championship to buy her a whole new wardrobe. Now we can get our starters right away, and I always pick Rowlet, so it's time for maybe the other 2. I went with Popplio this time since it fits our team better, and I think a water type is more useful than a fire type in this run, especially since we can't catch the Slowpoke or Wingull in the outskirts. I named him Hudson, and we'll see who can name the nickname theme from just that name alone. If you do, you're a real one. He ended up having a brave nature, which is alright. We of course do run into that first encounter on Route 1, but we don't have Pokeballs, so we can't catch anything yet. You know, I refuse to believe that the all-wise Hala doesn't know what this Pokemon is. I mean, seriously, nobody has seen this thing before, and none of us are going to question this thing. He literally has a galaxy on his body. He's clearly a legendary, guys. Ah, whatever. Alright, our first encounter on Route 1 that we can catch is Grubbin. I love this little guy. We actually used one in our last Route 1 run. Wow, that's a little hard to say sometimes. I named her Roach, and she has an adamant nature, which will suck for Vikavolt, but it's fine. Our third Pokemon is Yungoos. Looks like we're just getting all the bad natures today, huh? This one was named Shepherd, and he actually had Strong Jaw. Our next encounter was Caterpie, which could be big, as he'll fully evolve super quick. This one is Gaz, and really? A jolly nature? What is going on right now? He evolved immediately into Metapod. Hopefully we don't run into a Pinsir before he's a Butterfree. From here I decided to fight our first hot fight, as I don't think I can change the time of day right now since it's too early in the game to do so. Since I can only catch 6 Pokemon for the first trial, I'd rather have some Pokemon that appear at night, such as Ariados or Rattata. Anyways, we can take on our first real fight with Hau, and he has this Pichu. He did start off with a big crit Thundershock, as our tackle did under half of his health. The following turn he did charm us, so our second tackle didn't do much, and then he used Thundershock again. Another tackle got him into the red, but now we're paralyzed. I don't remember if he has a potion here, but I switched into Gaz on a Tail Whip because rival AI loves to use that when they could literally just murder my Pokemon. One tackle from Gaz can finish this thing off, and then Litten came out. Of course, Litten can't do anything to Hudson, so that wasn't too much of a challenge. So I just realized how much Pokemon are in Kukui's house/lab. This could make for a cool challenge. We could use Rockruff, Snubbull, Stuffle, Murkrow, Luvdisc, and Corsola. And there's even a Poliwhirl down here. Let me guys know if you want to see that. Now that it's nighttime, I went and caught a Rattata, which I named Farah. Bro, if I get another attack reducing nature or special attack one, like what is going on? Now we didn't get Spinarak, but instead Baneri, which is fine. I caught it, named him Mason, and he has an impish nature. Over in the trainer school, Gaz reached his full form, and now this thing is going to drop bodies. There goes that minus special attack nature kicking in. Now, Alima is always a tough early fight. I led Hudson as we have Baby Doll Eyes, which will lower his attack. At -5 attack, I go into Mason on a tackle. From here I begin to work up. I managed to get 4 workups off as he went for 4 Leers, so kind of scary. Now, oddly enough, 1 pound did not kill this thing. I did forget that Alima has a potion, which means I could have gone to +5, but oh well. I am -4 on defense, so I go into Gaz on a tackle. Taking another tackle, I go for Gus, doing pretty much nothing. Hoping he doesn't crit, I go for a string shot, which worked as he did not crit. From here, I went into Shepherd, who came in on a tackle, and the following turn I went for a sand attack, living on 3 HP. Now from here, I just sacked Yungoos, as I don't think we're going to be using him all that much anyways. From here, 2 bites can finish off Smeargle with Farah. Super early sack, but to be fair, we have a lot of normal types on Route 1, and he's the one I least prefer. Sorry pal, you reached the short end of the stick. Wow, if you play as a girl, they give you a makeup bag as a key item. It doesn't do anything, but it's a nice attention to detail. Now for the trial, Butterfree did level up to 13, which is fine, as we're already in the trial, so that doesn't really break my rules for it. So Gumshoos is our totem Pokemon, and I led Hudson. This way I could Baby Doll Eye to lower his attack. It was great that he missed a huge Super Fang turn 1, but of course right after that Yungoos is going to come out. From here I managed to get him to -3 attack, and we popped our Citrus Berry as Yungoos just leered. Now I think I could live another turn, so I went for a Water Gun to get into Torrent range. Yungoos used Leer, and Gumshoos got a super low thanks to the second Leer. From here we can use Torrent, and it did a decent chunk. Now I think it's time to switch, so I go into Gaz on a tackle from both Yungoos and Gumshoos. From here I went for a Sleep Powder on Yungoos, as it did more damage to us than Gumshoos did. The good news is Gumshoos only used Scary Face on us. The following turn, Gumshoos pops our Citrus Berry, and we can gust him to half, and unfortunately Yungoos does wake up super fast, getting another tackle on Gaz. Maybe I should have just gusted 2 times, but oh well. Now I click Gust, and this Yungoos is faster than us, getting a tackle off, and of course Gumshoos will outspeed as well, leaving us at 6 HP. Nobody crit, meaning Yungoos is out of here. Roach comes in on a tackle, and now I go for Mud Slap. This way we can lower his accuracy. I got him to about -3 accuracy, and at this point, I don't really want to risk losing Roach to a crit, as he's a great encounter, so I sent out Mason as the totem missed. Ha! Take that. From there we pounded away, as Gumshoos only hit 1 move, which happened to be Scary Face. He missed everything else. Good job, Mason. That was pretty scary, to say the least. Since we've beaten our first trial, we can go back to Route 1 to search for another one. This time around we got Pichu. I named her Ghost, and she has a hasty nature. After running around a bit to race our friendship, we evolved her into a Pikachu at level 13. We do this at level 13 since it allows us to learn Nasty Plot as a Pichu and Electro Ball as a Pikachu. Next up is a How fight, and he starts off with Litten. I go for a Nasty Plot as he goes for an Ember. The following turn I go for another boost, and he goes for Leer. That doesn't really matter, as Litten's only physical move is a Lick. Now a single Electro Ball can take out Litten, and I don't know why Noibat comes out next, but that of course gets sent into next week, and his own Pikachu will be a nice 2-hit KO. Not too bad. Now that we've done everything on Melee Island, we can take on its grand trial, Hollow. This fight is not hard at all, and it usually is. Like everything in this game. But thanks to Gaz being quad resisted, we can take moves all day. Hollow's first Pokemon is Machop. Like I said, we take moves, but he didn't even attack and instead used Focus Energy. Big mistake, Hollow. And now 2 Gusts can finish that off. Now of course Makuhita will go for that Fake Out, but the following turn I went for a Sleep Powder, as this thing is always annoying with Sand Attack. He did wake up the next turn, so the sleep was for nothing, and he used Arm Thrust, which did absolutely nothing as well. I figured it would be a 3-hit KO, so that's why I tried to induce Sleep. I used Sleep Powder again, and another Gust can put this thing in the red. I thought he was going to heal, so I roosted the damage he dealt to us, but he didn't and woke up to Arm Thrust us again. What the hell, Hala? Cabrawler is his final Pokemon, and we still haven't used our berries since we roosted, which is nice. I put him to sleep turn 1 and start gusting away. We don't do quite half, but he didn't wake up, and he also didn't wake up on our second gust, meaning that's it, we've won the battle. Butterfree early on in any game is a straight powerhouse, and I love it. Now that we've beaten the old man, it's time for another encounter, and since we have Tauros, we can smash these rocks to get something pretty unique. We ran into Rockruff, which is what I was looking for, and man is this thing cute. I named him Soap and added him to the party. I got rid of Grubbin as he's not useful right now. Still no good natures, but whatever. Now we can make our way over to Akala Island. Here we grab a new fit. Now we're looking like we belong in Alola. After a fight with Dexio, Hudson evolved into Brione. Or Brione. I have no idea what it is. He looks adorable. You know, I completely forgot Baniri evolves by friendship, so I immediately evolved him when I remembered. With our new evolution, I take on Hao once again. This time he has 4 Pokemon. Hao's really improving. With Return being as strong as it is since Mason loves us, Torracat is a nice 2-hit KO. Pikachu's attack literally didn't do jack shit to us, and to no one's surprise, one Return demolishes the mouse. I'm not too worried as his last 2 Pokemon can't do anything to Lopunny. Noibat dies to 1 return and Eevee comes out. It got a baby doll eyes off, but 1 return did huge damage to him, and then a quick attack can just wrap the fight up. Man, Torracat looks amazing with his 4 feet. I don't know why they made him bipedal when he evolves. Like, I would have loved a huge ass tiger. Everyone's favorite edgelord is up, and you'd think this is a Zubat, but no. We've played this game way too many times to be fooled. Now, since Feint Attack does very little damage, alright, aside from a crit, and I have a Citrus Berry on Mason here, I can get up to +4 attack with Work Up, and I have around 100 EVs in attack, so that should be enough to kill type Null in one shot. Now a return can mop Zorua and Zubat. Type Null is his final Pokemon, and this should kill. It does, and that's it. It looks like Lopunny is super useful early game as well. Speaking of being super useful, I didn't think he'd be that useful against the trial, but Return can do almost half to Araquanid, and then Normalium Z can finish it off. So let's see if this works. So Mason can get a Return off turn 1, doing under half of Araquanid's health. He'll bubble us for a decent chunk, and the plan was to Z-move it, but Masquerain got an Intimidate when it came out, which sucks. Like, how is this little bug intimidating? From here I go into Farah to Sack, who I didn't evolve so that it could just be dead on entry. This way the totem won't be forced to use Leech Life and get a bunch of health back. This is why Plan Bs are always useful. But yeah, we don't really need Farah, and I need Mason in without an attack drop, so now we can go back into Mason. From here I get a Breakneck Blitz, hoping the bug would die, and it just doesn't. Now Masquerain paralyzes us, and if that wasn't enough, this thing's bubble crits us. Now we just have to pray we break through paralysis with Quick Attack. We do, and the big bug is down. But now Masquerain uses Bug Bite. Oh my god, we lived! Mason is a G after that. Now we just need to switch out. I go into Gas, who takes a pathetic Bug Bite, and now 2 Gus can finish the little bug right up. Alright, that was scary, but come on. Did Araquanid have to live on 1 HP? After the trial, we can go back to Route 1 to catch another encounter. I was pretty much looking for Bonsly, as it could be great for Kiawe. It's a 30% chance, and it's between finding this and Munchlax in the grass. But Munchlax is a 5% chance. I ran into some Rockruffs and Yungoos, and then after, I actually ended up finding a Munchlax. Like, how? Like, Bonsly is literally 30%. I'm not complaining though. Snorlax at this point in the game is going to be amazing. I named him Reznov, and finally we have gotten a great nature. Adamant. The good thing about Munchlax is he'll always be holding lefties. Since this thing does evolve by friendship as well, we can immediately get him to be a Snorlax, and I EV trained him in max attack and defense.
Oh, brother!
Now the good news about Ultrasun and Ultramoon is that we can use ability capsules to change our Pokemon's abilities. This way we can change Snorlax's ability from immunity to thick fat, which will be way more useful, especially for the next trial. So my strat for this trial is simple. Thanks to my attack boosting nature, if we level up during the trial to level 23, a rain boosted Hydro Vortex with Aqua Jet will destroy the totem in one single hit. I did max out his special attack since he's going to be a special attacker, but I maxed the HP as much as I could as well. This should let us live 3 Brick Breaks from Marowak. So anyways, we start the trial and we can level up Hudson as we kill this Marowak. Now we can 100% kill the totem if we get the chance. So this thing has a boost in speed, and again, I've played this game so many times that usually this Marowak will always go for Detect if it doesn't have a super effective move for us. I have seen it do questionable things, but hopefully it uses Detect. We predict correctly, and now we have Rain up for free. Now we take a Torment from Salazzle, and then take a big Brick Break from Marowak, leaving us at 44 HP. That HP investment is really coming through here. A single Hydro Vortex can wash the totem back. What the hell? You know, what's crazy is I can't even Aqua Jet now to finish the Marowak off. I go into Reznov, a specially defensive beast, and unfortunately we did go in on a Brick Break, which does way too much to us, even with defensive Vs on him. From here I went into Gaz, who I know can take a Brick Break, and I know they probably won't go for a Flame Burst or Flame Wheel, as the rain is up. So I get him in on a Brick Break, and Salazzle Venoshocks us. Unfortunately, I really thought Hudson would kill, so I didn't level Gaz here to the cap or give him a Citrus Berry. This is why Plan Bs are important. Now, I don't know how we outsped here, as he definitely could have, even with our max speed EVs, but thank God we went first, allowing our Gust to send this thing into next week. Now we just have to pray Salazzle doesn't use Flame Burst. Oh my god, he doesn't, and boom! 2 HP, baby! Now, I wasn't 100% sure he wouldn't use Flame Burst, but thank God Rain lowers his chance if it's not 100%. You know, why would anybody use a fire move in rain. I would, but NPCs shouldn't. From here, Gaz went for a sleep powder. With the lizard asleep, I go into Hudson, and unfortunately it did wake up going for that flame burst, which I expected. Now we just have to live a Venoshock, which we do, and one Bubble Beam with the 100 EVs we have in special attack, and that's it. The trial is done. Alright, I definitely should have kept Water Gun for this fight, but oh well. We do have a Charizard now, so now we can fly all the way back to Route 1 to get another encounter. This time we run into a Picky Peck. I named her Woods and she has an impish nature. She evolved quick, and this is great for the next trial. Our next trial is Mallow's trial, and I got Roach out of the PC to evolve him. This little guy is crucial as Lurantis has its speed boosted in battle by 2 stages, and pair that with the synthesis and its max HP EVs, it's hard to deal with. Charger Bug will fix that though with max HP EVs to tank anything and String Shot. Alright, so Lurantis can't do anything to Roach here, not even with Solar Blade. Oh, it didn't even go for it. We hit that String Shot, and now this thing is at its base speed, which is good. Kecleon gets sent down, which is good because Comfey is very annoying boosting defenses. Now I do have a Citrus Berry as well as having max HP, so I'm going to go for a Light Screen to make switching into something else a little easier as Kecleon has Ancient Power. It goes for that Sunny Day, which sucks, but this is why we lowered speed. Now Lurantis gets a big crit on Roach and our Berry pops. Kecleon didn't even go for an Ancient Power and instead went for Dizzy Punch, confusing us. We did break through though and got a big Acrobatics off. Thank God Roach is still alive as she's very powerful later on. Now hopefully Lurantis here heals on our switch. It does, and now Dizzy Punch did a bunch of damage, but it didn't confuse. From here I put the Chameleon to sleep since it did way too much damage, and I know Lurantis can't do anything. I mean, look at that damage. Now I roosted to be safe and pray Keck doesn't wake up. It didn't wake up, and the low sweep did a little more as Roost takes the flying type away. Since the sun is done now, if Keck wakes up, it might be more forced to use it for Lurantis' sake. That being said, low sweep lowered our speed, and I thought I could still outspeed. Apparently we're slower now, and he used Solar Blade getting a crit. Keck still hasn't awoken this turn. This is bad. Funnily enough, this thing outsped by 1 point, and we didn't even do half. Predicting his heal turn, we roosted, and Keck did nothing with that Ancient Power since of course Flying type is removed. I take an X-Scissor and put the Chameleon to sleep, and the following turn, take another one and roost. This time we take more damage and go for a Silver Wind, praying for an Omni boost. We didn't get one, and Keck woke up getting a big Ancient Power off. We know Lurantis is going to heal, so I go for a roost, and Ancient Power does nothing, and thankfully he's also not getting an Omni boost. From here I roosted 2 turns as Lurantis didn't get a crit and Ancient Power didn't get a boost. Very lucky. I believe Kecleon is out of Ancient Powers at this point, but I'm not counting, so I'm not really sure. But anyways, now rinse repeat, we take an X-Scissor and put Chameleon to bed. I'm slowly losing my mind at this point. He didn't get a crit next turn, but we roosted and Kecleon didn't wake up. We get even more luckier as Lurantis didn't crit again, and this thing is slumbering right now. To think, I was just going to switch or sack Gaz too early if need be. From here, he does in fact get a crit, and we get a Silver Wind off as Kecleon goes for Sunny Day. And here, I'm pretty confident that Ancient Power is no more. Deja Vu happens once again, since I really don't want to be confused from the green guy's Dizzy Punch, as well as it just does way too much damage to Gaz. Unfortunately, we take another X-Scissor, and we just don't get an Omni boost. If she didn't lower our speed all those turns ago, we'd be fine, but what can you do? I'm pretty sure this is his last synthesis, so we roost for free this turn. This is our last Silver Wind, and I can't make this shit up, guys. We actually got an Omni boost, meaning not only are we faster, but I think a Gust can kill from where he's at. Also, Kecleon did wake up, but it only used Screech. You idiot! Even if this doesn't kill, we're fine. So we in fact don't get the KO, and he lowered our speed, but it's fine as Lurantis can't heal now, and Kermit here just used Screech again. This is definitely going to hurt, which it did, but he didn't crit and Lurantis is down. Unfortunately, this is it for Gaz, as he goes down to a Dizzy Punch. I was hoping he'd do something else, but it is what it is. I love you, buddy. What's even funnier is it used Sunny Day for no reason on Mason. So is that just like random and Gaz could be alive right now? I'll never know. Well, at least it was only 1 casualty. Honestly, I should have string shotted 2 times instead of using that useless light screen, but oh well. After this, we can catch a Bonsly back in Route 1. She was named Price, and she had a neutral nature. From here, we can make our way through Digless Cave and all the way to Coney City.
Oh, brother!
Looker might be annoying, but at least he gave us a Thunderstone for Pikachu. Unfortunately, we can't evolve him until level 42, where we get Thunderbolt. At level 25, Soapy evolved into a Lycanroc. Unfortunately, we can't get the Dust form, which I wanted since it gets Tough Claws, but apparently you need a hidden ability Rockruff, which was a mystery gift in this game. After our fight with Plumeria, Woods evolved as well, which is great. So I have a cool little strat with Olivia. I led Ghost to start Charming. I got her down to -4 attack, and I don't want to risk death and make Ghost here an actual Ghost, so I went into Mason to finish the job. 2 baby doll eyes later, and I get into Reznov. This way we can yawn and go into the start of the show, Soap. He did eat our Citrus Berry, which I always forget Bug Bite does that, but it's not too much of an issue now that he's asleep. Apparently though, she has a full heal, so she just cures that right away. Once I'm at +3 attack with no crits on her end, we can now sweep everything. Anorith dies to a Brick Break, so does Lileep, and her own Lycanroc stands no chance. Pretty simple. Now we can catch another encounter, and this thing is definitely sack material. She was named Menendez. I love Ledion's design and all, but that doesn't change the fact of the matter. This Pokemon is straight ass. Anyways, Hao wants to fight once more because he just doesn't understand that we're the greatest trainer alive right now. Seriously, I came up with a brilliant strategy for this infamous Hao fight. So in the Pokemon Center here, we can get the TM for Facade, and with this we can teach it to Lopunny and burn him prior to the fight. I went to Wayla Volcano Park to find Magby's and wasn't really getting lucky with a burn. But you know what I did get lucky with? A shiny! What? I don't know why, but I was actually thinking like, hey, I'm probably gonna run into a shiny before we get the burn. Well, here it is. Damn, he didn't even burn us. How useless. I know a bunch of you are going to hate me for doing that, but I love you all. So anyways, Hao starts off with his kitten, and I thought this thing would just die, but I guess not. And we took a big Fire Fang popping our Citrus Berry, but at least he didn't use his Z move. Torracat here has HP investment. From here, Raichu is out, and I needed to be level 31 in order to outspeed this thing by some points, and that being said, it dies in one shot. Now comes out Leafeon, and we're sitting pretty weak, and I need to get a workup off to kill Tauros, and this as well in one shot. Unfortunately, we're just too weak to do this since I forgot it had Quick Attack, and it'll more than likely just use that. Darn you, Torracat. Almost a perfect strat. From here, I go into Woods on a Giga Drain, oddly enough. Like, why didn't you just use Quick Attack, bro? From here, a Beak Blast just straight up destroys Leafeon in one shot, and Tauros comes out. Now, Tauros does get an Intimidate off, but it doesn't even matter. His Horn Attack popped our berry, but it'll burn him since he made contact with the beak. And even at -1, this is a 2-hit KO thanks to the burn damage. Good job, Woods. For Noibat, I mean, do I even have to explain? Man, I still don't know how that Torracat lived. Oh, wait. I didn't give him a Silk Scarf. Well, come on, Mason. You go into the fight and you don't even tell me about it? You know, it'd be cool if the Silk Scarf actually showed in battle. I don't know about you guys, but yelling at the bus stop isn't going to make the bus come any faster. And must you do these weird hand movements every time you speak? You guys look like idiots. Speaking of the bus stop, we came all the way here to take on our next challenge, the Electric Child. Now, Chonkers here is no joke as his defense is boosted by 2 stages. For this fight, I brought Price here for backup in case. He has max attack and defense. Now, I led Reznov here to Bulldoze off the bat. Unfortunately, he did use Spiky Shield, but Bulldoze doesn't make contact, so we're fine. From here, Togedemaru used Zing Zap, doing some damage as Skarmory sets up rocks, and we yawn to put him to sleep the following turn. Now we protect from a Torment, and he falls asleep. From here, we do get tormented as we Bulldoze the Chonky Mouse, lowering his speed, which could prove useful later. Since I can't use Bulldoze twice, I just went for a Protect for some health, and he did in fact wake up, so that worked great. Then he Spiky Shielded, which sucked, and Skarm attacked us. It's all good though, as another Protect can get us our health back. We did waste 2 turns as he Spiky Shielded again, but then another Bulldoze can pop his berry, as they both did some damage to Reznov here. Now the good thing was we both protected at the same time, meaning now we can definitely get a Bulldoze off the following turn. But of course, after taking hits, we get flinched from that Iron Head. Since we got flinched, we actually can't protect again because the game reads our last move as protect, since technically we never used Bulldoze. From here, I took a Steel Wing, which got a big crit, and then thankfully Togedemaru's Zing Zap left us at 8 HP. Our Bulldoze got him to around 35%. We protected next turn, and I actually brought Menendez to sack in case. I'm sorry, buddy. Actually, no, I'm not. Menendez did some terrible things. Screw you, Menendez. From here, Price can come in for free, almost. The rocks did break our Sturdy, which doesn't matter. Being defensive, I figured I'd live, but I didn't factor in rocks, and also I thought I could outspeed considering Togedemaru right now is at -4 speed. But Price is just that much of a G and lived on 2 HP eating his berry. Honestly, probably should have gave him the soft sand as Bulldoze just slightly missed the KO here. From here I went into Mason, who took both a Steel Wing and an Iron Hand as well as rocks. This made us eat our Citrus Berry, and now a low sweep can take out the totem once and for all. Or not, as she used Spiky Shield. Come on, man. So close again. Thankfully, Scarm used Tailwind as he didn't damage us, and now we can finally get rid of Chonkers. We live a Steel Wing, and now I can go into Ghost, who is resisted, and our static goes off. Nice. 2 Electro Balls later, with him actually getting paralyzed, and that's the trial. I definitely don't want to lose Sudowoodo, as I don't know if he'll be useful yet. Now usually I don't include battles when nothing happened in them, like this Guzma fight where Toucannon can pluck Golisopod into his emergency exit. Or not. Well, that sucks. This was going to lead me to say, if I don't include a battle, it's because nothing happened, but I guess something did happen in this fight. Anyways, after he popped our Citrus Berry, we can pluck again, and this time we got a max roll, straight up knocking him out. Masquerain does have Icy Wind here, and I don't really feel like risking a crit, so out comes Reznov. Our tanky guy can tank special hits all day, although this Masquerain does pack a punch. One Body Slam can almost murder him and paralyze him. I did protect for lefties and then took another Bug Buzz, and man, a crit would have killed us, so maybe just staying in the bird would have been fine. Oh man, anyone else would love a Rockruff as a pet? This thing's adorable. Fast forward to Blush Mountain, and now we can finally evolve Roach here into Vikavolt. For now, I'm going to replace Pikachu since I won't be evolving him until level 42. Also at level 34, Hudson evolved into this gorgeous creature. Now with this gorgeous creature, we can take on our next trial, after doing a photo shoot with the ghosts here. Such a Gen Z thing to do, but here we are. Toto Mimikyu is always a tough fight as it has EVs spread through most of its stats and has a boost on every single one of its stats as well. But if that wasn't enough, Mimikyu has the ability to disguise, which basically means our first hit on it won't even count. I led Mason here since he's so good with the numbers and the calculation, and basically we can baby dollize so he doesn't get a +1 hit off on us. This way Play Rough doesn't do half and Banette comes out. I do this one more time so that Mimikyu is at -1, and this will pop our Citrus Berry as Banette screeches. From here I go into Reznov as I fear a curse, and I know he'll tank that Play Rough. The following turn we can take a pathetic Play Rough, and then Banette decides to burn us, which is fine. We bulldoze both of them, doing some chip to Banette and breaking Mimikyu's disguise, but the cool thing is we can lower Mimikyu's speed back down to its base stat. No more use for Reznov, so I end up switching to Hudson, who I know won't get cursed as Snorlax was already cursed. Now I thought about my next move for a while, and I figured the best bet was to Reflect, as that will allow Woods to come in and tank hits. So we take a big Play Rough, which is okay since Hudson here also has a Citrus Berry, and this Banette used Curse, which I didn't think of that as a possibility, but that's nice as now that's dead. It could be scary since Jellicent can come out, but it didn't end up coming out right away, so we have some time. From here I went into Woods, who took a very weak Play Rough, and still he has an SOS for another Pokemon. From here Mimikyu will Play Rough and actually get the attack drop on Woods, which blows, and of course his Lumberry will pop since Beak Blast burns him. We do barely any damage to Mimikyu, but on the bright side, he's still all lonely, meaning I can Beak Blast again. No crit thankfully, but he did get an attack drop again. Come on man. This time our burn will stay and Jellicent does come out. This thing actually isn't as annoying as Banette, if at all, so what I do is take a Play Rough, and that'll pop our berry and we roost to full. And I forgot to unpause my recording for that. Whoops. Just trust me, that's what I did. But yeah, regardless, Mimikyu is on a timer now, and Woods is pretty safe unless he gets a crit. The following turn, he does try to get a crit with Slash, but that must have pissed Woods off hard as our Beak Blast crit the Mimikyu, securing this trial for us. Alright, that didn't go too bad. Acerola, ghosts exist. One's right behind me. After a bunch of Team Skull Grunts and Angry Gladion later, we take on Nanu. Before that though, we have a quick segment with our sponsor, Pikachu. He decided to evolve. Honestly, this Route 1 team is so good. They all put in work. I mean, Hudson takes care of every single one of Nanu's Pokemon without breaking a sweat. I did have a Lumberry prepared for Crocrock's swagger, and Persian can't do anything to us. It also can't even live a single Moonblast. I mean, we're just plowing through the game with Route 1 Pokemon. Bro, Gladion's face every time he sees Nanu doing this, classic. Now there's a fair bit of Aether Paradise battles after this, but none of them, and I mean none of them, were a challenge. So let's just skip to Guzma. Guzma of course starts off with that Golisopod. This thing only has 3 moves, Sucker Punch, First Impression, and Razor Shell. If I lead Hudson here, I can get a Reflect Up, and since First Impression can only go turn 1, that leaves 2 moves. I don't think he'd go for Razor Shell, so Sucker Punch it is, and that won't work if I switch, meaning we switch in for free. So that's what I do. Assuming he sucker punches again, I go for Nasty Plot, which he does. I predict again, and he does it. Again. And now I'm just going to stall his sucker punch turns. But I kind of figured this would happen. He goes for Razor Shell and pops our berry. Sometimes AI can be smarter than you and just pick up on what you're doing. Either that or it's just random. He did miss a second Razor Shell, which was huge, but if he sucker punches, we're dead, so instead I'm going to charm him. And luckily he did end up using another sucker punch. And he uses a final one, which is great, meaning now he can outspeed since he can only use Razor Shell, and everything else on his team proceeds to die a similar fate. Definitely scary, but every time I use Raichu in these games, I do that for this fight, as if it does work, we get a free sweep off. It just so happens that AI can stop doing what I want it to do. Honestly though, who knows? He might have just went back to using Sucker Punch there since he missed his Razor Shell. Or because I started charming. Guzma's Crush is next, and she's a cakewalk. See, all we have to do is lead Roach so that she can set up a light screen. We take a Moonblast, pop our berry, and set up the screen. We're slower, which is great since we can late Volt Switch into Ghost for free with a light screen already set up for us to work with. If you guessed Nasty Plot Shenanigans, you'd be correct, my friend. Oh, Lucami, that's Charm. For attack drops, not special attack drops, you dumbass. Anyways, from here, Clefable dies to a Thunderbolt, Lilligant dies to a Psychic, Milotic gets electrocuted back into the ocean, Beware gets a massive headache from Psychic, and her own beauty of a Lopunny gets demolished in one hit as well. God, this team's synergy is amazing. Alright Guzma, we get it. You like Lucami, but can you calm down with that face? You're scaring us all. Fast forward to the 4th island, and we finally get pampered like a baby with this big guy. You know, Mudsdale makes me want to do a ride Pokemon only challenge. Who would like that? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, nothing really happens on this 4th island except for legendary stuff and the 2 trials, but I mean, everything in between is nothing difficult. You can avoid most trainers as well through the canyon. I'm sure Lily here is having major flashbacks to the Spearows at the beginning of the game. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'd be shitting bricks if Murkrows came up to me on this skinny, raggedy-ass bridge. Like, I feel like Murkrows are aggressive. Alright, remember how I said nothing happened? Well, this Glaceon definitely gave me a little bit of a scare. But thankfully we're good. Now before our Dragonchile, I went back to Route 1 to catch this Spinarak, and we named her Steiner. But this is just fodder for Como. How fitting. So for this totem, I sat here for an hour trying to come up with different scenarios, but they were all too complicated, and the more time you spend in a battle, the more RNG you're gonna get, so I made this pretty simple. I led Ghost to Charm since she's faster. This thing has an Omni Boost set up, and this thing will bring him down to -1 since it lowered his attack by 2 stages. This will in turn not risk losing Ghost, and thankfully Noivern came out. If Scizor came out, it has Light Screen to ruin the strat a little bit. From here, the little bug comes out and gets shredded by a Dragon Claw, and now Hudson can come in for free. Hudson can take a Poison Jab, and I didn't want this to happen, but Noivern did Screech. Como-O does carry a Roselli Berry, which sucks, and that will reduce the damage from our Moonblast, but the idea was to live another turn so that another Moonblast could finish the totem, but now we're -2 defense. I looked for a bit and realized Reznov was our best option since we did have to switch or Hudson would die. Reznov with his defense EVs tanked the Poison Jab with no poison, and Boom Burst also didn't do jack. From here I protected for lefties. Now I could either Body Slam or Bulldoze. Bulldoze would guarantee speed drop, but Body Slam will do more damage, and we need that as Como-O will get health back from Drain Punch. Alternatively, we could go into Roach, which is what I did since obviously it's going to Drain Punch. The unfortunate thing is that Noivern went for Screech. Alright, this isn't as bad as I thought, as Roach here can live 2 hits from both of these guys, and since we're slower, we can Volt Switch late to get Hudson in for free. We take a Dragon Pulse and a critical hit Boom Burst, and now we Volt Switch into Hudson with no defense drops. We take a big Poison Jab popping our berry, and that Noivern will burst our eardrums with Screech again, but we were fine to live a move as long as no crit. One more Moonblast and Como-O is down. Now since Screech lowered our defense and this thing is a special attacker, we're pretty much fine, and then a Moonblast can take out that. Alright, not too bad. In fact, Screech might have been the better scenario, who knows. Let me know guys, are you Team Solgaleo or Team Lunala? I mean, I was Team Lunala at first, but I think Solgaleo is so much better now. Although it doesn't change the fact that this thing got bodied by Premierina with the Choice Specs. Now, of course, for little Nebby here, I used a good old Toxic strat, but I'm pretty sure the developers for this game were on crack when they made this thing, because ain't no way this thing has EVs, is 10 levels higher, and has an Omni Boost with ridiculous base stats. I mean, Reznov nearly died to the Photon Geyser, and we're a special tank. Well, anyways, we protected, and back in Route 1, we caught Krevchenko, who will also pay for his sins. So goodbye, you criminal. From here, I protected with Price. Now, I brought Price along because we have Sturdy, but as if Ultra Necrozma wasn't enough, apparently, and I'm learning this for the first time, this move ignores abilities. Like, what doofus designed this thing? Man, screw this game. Mina wasn't too hard as she uses Sucker Punch, meaning we can charm her and set up for a free sweep. Now, as for Lima, we brought back Mason with the Facade strat. His Gumshoes is defensive, so it won't die, but luckily Kamala did come out next and didn't use Sucker Punch, which means it'll die without touching us. We needed to be level 53 for the Facade to kill in one shot with a Silk Scarf. As for Smeargle, I figured even with a crit, we'd live in E-speed, but man was that closer than I thought, with that crit. Honestly, for Mallow, the same thing happened thanks to Wood's sharp beak, and I'm not just talking about the item she's holding. Don't even get me started on Kiawe. I mean, that guy was a piece of cake thanks to Snorlax's thick fat ability. Not even the Z Inferno could penetrate Reznov's thick belly. He has an appetite for blood, Kiawe. And considering Sophocles' Pokemon are all quad weak to Bulldoze, this wasn't a challenge either. After all those duds are taken care of, we can finally take on our last trial, Rabambi. Now, Rabambi is always a challenge, and it's mainly because this thing has all of its stats raised to +2 as well as being defensive. However, this time we have Woods, and with a Flyinium Z, we almost guarantee a knockout turn 1. The only issue is we have a 2% chance not to KO, and if she crits, there's a slight chance we'll die. Am I willing to risk it for content? Hell yeah, I am. And thankfully we did it because Rabambi just went for a Quiver Dance, and right after, a single supersonic airstrike murdered this bug where it flew. Alright, that was great, Woods. Habu is our final kahuna before we face off in the Elite Four. You may be thinking we're going to use Hudson for this fight, but you couldn't be more wrong. No, see, Roach has Levitate, which means they can't use any of their ground type moves on us, and they have nothing else to hit us with. Also, we have Roofs, so we're pretty much chilling. On top of that, Roach gets Energy Ball by TM. 2 can take out Golurk easy after only taking 1 Shadow Punch thanks to her Stealth Rocks turn 1. Mudsdale comes out next, and she'll get us into berry range with her payback, but yeah. Mudsdale is a defensive tank, not a specially defensive one. So we can roost some health on him, and 2 Energy Balls is enough to take care of that. Now, unfortunately, Gastrodon does do a lot with Muddy Water, so we can't stay in on Flygon after we take care of this thing. But I mean, Roach did a lot of damage to her team, and she's probably shooketh. The good thing is, Flygon only has Earth Power and Dragon Breath, meaning its only option is to click the Dragon move, and who's immune to Dragon-type moves? Hudson. That's who. So all we do is take some rock damage on entry, and then an Earth Power into our Moonblast, and that's the battle. Yeah, like I said, shooketh. Utter shock. If this was black and white, I'm sure one of her Pokemon would have had Rock Slide. I mean, everything in that game has Rock Slide. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. This Route 1 team is just unstoppable. I mean, seriously. For Gladion, Woods can Beak Blast to burn Crobat so that Ghost can set up. Then we take a crit Cross Poison and U-turn. This way, Ghost can come in for free. I think we can still set up to +4 special attack, since in this gen, burn damage was changed to be weaker. So with this thing burned, we can set up to +4 special attack, taking 2 Cross Poisons, which didn't crit. Crobat is still standing. I leveled Ghost here a level higher as this allows Raichu to outspeed by 2 points. Anyways, now Crobat gets electrocuted, so does Zoroark, so Valley can't take a single Psychic at all, and I did risk a crit with Quick Attack here for no reason, but just to show Gladion that I'm like that, bro. You're a failure. Oh, and your mom doesn't love you either. So as always, I include these 2 trainers at the end of Mount Lanakila, as they're always pretty tough and it's a double battle. And like everything in this game, they have EVs. Now don't get me wrong, I'm glad Rock Slide hits both opponents, but I really didn't want Vikavolt to live here, but it's okay I suppose, as he flinched instead of digging. Roach can get a light screen up, which is nice, but it's also not nice because, well, both their special attackers are dead or nearly dead in Vikavolt's situation. Now this Tyranitar can do 2 things right now. It could Stone Edge on Roach's slot, or it can Earthquake. Now, there's a guarantee that EQ could kill Soap here, and his own Vikavolt has Levitate. So I really feel like EQ is coming. And I was correct, and Reznov can take those all day. Roach gets off a decent chunk with Energy Ball, also getting a special defense drop in the process as his own Vikavolt goes for Agility. Now Stone Edge will definitely kill Roach here, so I have to switch her out. Now, oddly enough, I went for Hudson here, and Vikavolt didn't go for Dig, and instead went for Bug Buzz, and on top of that, T-Tar went for Earthquake again. Like, why would you do that? Make it make sense. Reznov did Body Slam, but we didn't get a para. Now here, I'm kind of fucked because Primarina is in range to die from Stone Edge, so I'm almost positive it'll go for it. However, if it goes for Earthquake, we die regardless due to sand damage. So I do in fact hard switch back into Roach, and this way if he does EQ, we're immune and Snorlax will bulldoze, lowering T-Tar's speed. I made the play, and this guy missed the Stone Edge, allowing Roach to see another day. I can't believe it. On top of that, Reznov got a nice bulldoze off, almost killing the green guy, and thankfully Fortress didn't explode. Now I did calc this, guys, and apparently Vikavolt outspeeds T-Tar by 2 points, and this is actually because T-Tar has 15 IVs in speed. So we Energy Ball T-Tar and Fortress uses Iron Defense. Now Bisharp is out. Now what I do is hard switch Reznov out of here into Soap, because Soap doesn't really matter to me. If you haven't noticed, he hasn't really been doing much up until this battle, but yeah, we do that and we take a Night Slash, popping our Citrus Berry on Roach. Volt Switch kills Fortress from where he's at, and now we have a free switch on something. Alright, I thought for a long time about who I wanted to switch into, and came to the conclusion that switching into Woods is good, as that will make Bisharp focus Soap with Iron Head. Now we hard switch into Ghost, who will take an Iron Head, and we U-turn doing 30% to Bisharp. Now a single Thunderbolt will demolish this guy and finish the battle once and for all. I thought about going into Raichu for free, but it's not guaranteed that a Cell Rock, which has priority, plus Thunderbolt would kill Bisharp before he can attack us, so that was the safer option by a mile. Alrighty, with all that done, we can finally take on the Elite Four. I feel like I've been typing this script for forever. Our first challenge of the Elite Four by choosing is Kahili. I've played 2 times before with Alolan Raichu, and I can confidently say he rules in the Elite Four setting. So Kahili leads Braviary as I lead Precious Ghost. A Nasty Plot turn 1, and since this thing has a chance to kill me with Crush Claw, I have a Focus Sash here just in case, and it looks like we actually did need it. That's our only Focus Sash for the game, so there we go. Now everything dies to a Thunderbolt. We even outsped Hawlucha since we have a boosted speed nature. And that's it. That's our first Elite Four battle without breaking a sweat. Just had Ghost at 1 HP there for a minute, no biggie. Now I decided to fight Molayne next, and I led Soap. Now you might be thinking I'm nuts for doing this, but we don't want Klefki ruining our strat with Thunder Wave, and Soap here has Taunt. Speaking of Thunder Wave, he went for it first turn and we get off that taunt. Now Ghost can come in and we're resisted to it, which I always forget, but not this time. Now I'm kind of confused because taunt in the description says 3 turns, but I guess it doesn't count the turn I set it up, meaning it's 4 turns of taunt, and I put a useless Lumberry on Ghost. I could have put a Citrus Berry instead, since we only need to be +4. Oh wait, I just searched it up. Apparently taunt will be 3 turns if we go first, but since his Prankster let him go first, taunt is 4 turns. Pretty cool. We set up the +4 special attack with Nasty Plot, and now we go at it. 1 Thunderbolt kills Klefki, and Dugtrio is forced in since it has EQ. A Psychic can kill this thing, and Bisharp also gets bodied. Now unfortunately the Reign of Terror ends here for Ghost, as Magnezone has Sturdy, and regardless at +4, we can't even bring him down to his Sturdy. If we were healthier, it'd be fine, but we didn't have a Citrus Berry and instead a useless Lumberry. I mean, I've seen the AI do some weird things. There's a chance we did need the Lumberry if Klefki used just Flash Cannon on Soap at the start. Anyways, now I can go into Reznov. We take a critical hit Tri-Attack to make matters worse. I protect for some health, take a big Thunderbolt, and bring him down to his Sturdy. On his healing turn, I just use Body Slam and then Protect again. Now this guy is definitely not an NPC. He gained consciousness and switched on me. From here I go into Hudson fearing a Hammer Arm, and we take nothing from that. Now I did check, and apparently since Hammer Arm lowered his speed, Hudson here outspeeds by a whopping 2 points, meaning we can Shadow Ball, take a Meteor Mash, and wait! He has Bullet Punch, let's not do that. Unfortunately, I also have Light Clay on Primarina instead of a Berry, whoops. Now I do predict the Bullet Punch, and I went into Soap here, and I think you all know where this is going. We're going to sack Soap because I have no use for him anymore. And we can use a Cell Rock, which has priority over his Bullet Punch, to do some chips so that maybe Roach can kill. Alrighty, I love you, Soap. You didn't shine like the rest did, but at least you had the most iconic name. Roach comes out after this, and we take a big Zen Headbutt, popping our Berry. From here, our Volt Switch just misses the KO, and I'm pretty sure he has another potion. I decided to go into Woods as he has Feather Dance, and this guy switched again. I U-turned from here, and Reznov is back out. Now, I feel like he won't switch again, so I actually protected like last time, and thankfully this time I was right. Now thanks to lefties, we live a Thunderbolt and high horsepower this thing into the ground. I feel like we're pretty safe to go into Roach, and I guess he doesn't have any potions left? I swore they all had at least 2. Maybe I'm wrong or it's random if they use it or not. Regardless, just when I thought the fight was over, he flinched me with Zen Headbutt. Come on, dude. The only thing I can switch into is Woods, so that's what I do. We take half from a Meteor Mash and pop our berry. A U-turn finally finishes this battle. And I don't know how I scraped away with just 1 death, but I'll take it. Next up is Acerola, and Reznov should take this pretty well, as we're immune to ghost type moves and we have Crunch. I mean, Banette gets absolutely bodied in 1 shot. When Frostless comes out, I protect, and the following turn I go ahead with another Crunch. We do get confused from this thing, but it's not too much of an issue, and once we don't hit ourselves, Crunch can one-shot her as well. Now for Delmise, I tried to protect and hit ourselves, as well as tanking an energy ball. Then we snapped out for some lefties health. From there, I crunched 2 times while protecting in between to knock the ghosty anchor out. Once Palo Sand comes out, we protect and take an Earth Power, dropping us into the yellow. Our crunch unfortunately couldn't do half to her, and we didn't get a defense drop. From there, we protect for some health, and then I go into Roach, as all Acerola is doing is using Earth Power on Reznov. This way we can come in for free since we have Levitate, and now an Energy Ball can wash this pile of sand back to the ocean where it belongs. Well, first we have to take this Go Z move that almost destroyed us, but everyone knows Roaches live everything, so 1 Energy Ball and that's that. Drifloon is her final Pokemon, and I just went into Hudson on a Focus Energy. From here, it was a long battle of me Shadow Balling until eventually, and this is after she healed, she got an Omni Boost from Ominous Wind. These are her stats right now, and I'm in danger. Nah, just kidding, I just went into Woods on an Ominous Wind, but man, I forgot this thing doesn't have any other moves, so Reznov can just come out and clean up. Because she only has a Ghost type move, and we're immune. Whoops. Now I don't know why, but for some reason Olivia is just always the hardest for me, so I usually leave her for last. I figure I can just sack things at this point, as Raichu will take care of Hao, so I lead Hudson as she has that Armaldo. A single Sparkling Aria will destroy this thing, and since I have Hudson out, this will bring in Cradily. From here I set up a Reflect for 8 turns. The following turn I'd hard switch into Roach. Now an Energy Ball goes off and a light screen goes up on our side. Since we're slower than Cradily, we can Volt Switch late into Ghost, but the only thing messing us up would be those rocks. We then go for a Nasty Plot as she goes for a Rock Tomb, lowering our speed. We do this 1 more time and she actually missed, and now we're at +4 special attack. From here, a Psychic can finish off Cradily with that little sliver of health it was missing, which mattered by the way. Probopass is out next. Probopass is always great since it doesn't dish out okay, never mind. Oh, I'm scared. Anyways, 2 Thunderbolts can put her in her place. Once that's over, Lightning Rock comes out, and I just Thunderbolted as we're only -1 speed, so we can still outspeed this thing since it has no EVs in that stat, instead it's tanky. Now for Gigalith, since it sets up sand on entry, Thunderbolt won't kill now because rock types get a special defense boost. Because of this, I go into Woods taking rock damage, but she used Bulldoze. Ha, idiot. Then I use Bullet Seed to get her to half, and she Stone Edged us, killing Woods. Sorry pal, but it had to be done. I'm so proud of you. Finally, Roach finishes the battle with a big Energy Ball, and it looks like Olivia is proud of us as well. Alright guys, it's the moment of truth. But I already know how this is going to go down since I've played with Raichu a couple times already. See, all we have to do is lead Roach, who can set up a light screen. We take a Brutal Psychic, which doesn't get us to half. And the following turn, we Volt Switch late into our own Raichu. Now I did put Psyshock on Raichu, but I forgot that Volt Switch would do damage, so that was useless. This was to use Raichu's defense stat instead of its special, so we can kill from full at +5 special attack. Regardless, we start setting up. I do 1 Calm Mind as he quick attacks, and then 2 Nasty Plots to be at +5. Thankfully he didn't crit his quick attacks, and now we can demolish his entire team. I mean, everything just gets bodied by this thing. Ghost is having a field day with his team. And what can Hao do? Just stand there, like how his grandpa does with his arched back. And you know why his back is arched? Because Ghost is literally fucking him from behind and doesn't care at all. The victory is ours, ladies and gents. He didn't even try to quick attack with Leafeon there, which might have stopped Ghost, but oh well. I hope you guys enjoyed yet another video, and man did this team work well together. And I didn't even need to use the side sections for Route 1 like the Trainer School or the Outskirts. Just goes to show how many good Pokemon there are on Route 1. Go ahead and like and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you all next time. Love ya.